Hi, this is Roy Worley. Welcome to the interview show that brings on guests from all walks of life. Yeah, it's here that they tell their stories and delve a little deeper into their lives to see what got them where they are. So grab a drink, have a seat, and relax, because this is the Leo Effect.
When was the last time a short movie shook your emotions to the core? When was the last time a short movie caused you to rethink everything you stood for? When was the last time a short movie made you proud to be an American? When was the last time you felt the emotion to stand up and cheer after a short movie? The new short movie, I've Got Your Six, written and directed by Bill Foster, one of the industry's newest and fastest climbing directors, will answer all of those questions. Rarely has there been so much packed into a short movie that when you leave, you'll feel more proud of our American military veterans. A movie that was cast only with American military veterans will have you on the edge of your seat, cheering for our veterans and what makes America great. I've Got Your Six will be hitting the film festival scene soon. Be prepared to drop what you're doing and go see this powerful movie when it comes to your area. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Leo Effects. Today, I'm joined by a very special guest. We had reached out to her, and she was so kind to donate some of her time to come in and talking to both myself and you guys. And today, I am joined by the lovely Sera-Lys. How are you today?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
I'm well as well.
Nice.
Things are going along just fine. This is a lovely way to start the morning, so I'm very excited about that.
Yeah, me too.
So I guess without further ado, we'll just jump right into this. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
So my first question, and I kind of ask it to everybody, it's kind of the way to kick off the show, is if you'd be willing to kind of, in your words, you don't have to go through an entire resume or anything like that, but can you tell the listeners what it is that you do and kind of what you've done, what you feel you might be known for, kind of thing?
Sure. So I'm Sera-Lys McArthur. I am an actress or actor, whichever you prefer. And I've started out in Canada, so a lot of my early work and even present work continues to be Canadian productions, but I have had some lucky, larger breaks, and one of those is Outlander on Stars. I had a really nice guest star role on that in season 4. And I also was in an episode of Netflix's Friends from College. Canadian TV shows I've been a part of are Arctic Air, Hard Rock Medical, and now I'm on season 3 of Burden of Truth, which is actually a Canadian production that has been picked up internationally. So we're on CBC in Canada, the CW and Hulu in the US, and then we'll also be on Universal Television in the UK.
Wow. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
That's really great.
Mm-hmm.
So you said that you've done a little work on both sides here. So I'm curious, is filming and TVs in general, like TV shows, are they the same style, or would you say Canadian style is different than American?
There's a difference for sure, because in Canada, it seems to be a little bit easier to book network, what we call network television or primetime television, than it is in the States. I think it's a smaller pool, of competition. But similar to the U.S., it's a bit cleaner cut and a bit more universal. So in nature, so you don't get to do anything crazy risque. And usually, if you're going to do something more on the artistic side or on the experimental side, that's going to probably be an indie feature film.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so luckily I've done a lot of both, and I really enjoy both. And there are some Canadian cable shows that are a bit grittier And that's similar to the US as well. Like if you do a cable show, it's grittier and kind of pushes the envelope of comfortability a bit more.
Nice. Well, after, I've actually visited the Yukon before, and after meeting the 5 people that live there, I can say that it is definitely a smaller pool.
Yeah,
So-
exactly. And we focus on different aspects of our culture. There's a much more recognized Indigenous presence in Canada. And so luckily, recently we've been getting some shows that actually are focused around Indigenous characters, not solely, but like more than there used to be. And I think we kind of led the way in that regard.
That's fantastic.
The US seems to be following suit now. There's like some things in the works right now. And I think there was like one show called Chambers on Netflix that had, half of the cast was Indigenous. And so, things are moving that direction. So that's good.
Yeah, that is good. That's just great. What was it that made you decide to pursue this career?
Well, it was a lucky break. I didn't really have anyone in my family that I, could look at. And even growing up, so I grew up in Saskatchewan, which is right. If you don't know where it is, it's because it's the middle of nowhere. And there wasn't a lot going on there in film or anything. I didn't even know when I was a kid that you could be an actor. Like I thought that those were real people.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
And I was like, how do those kids get chosen for those commercials? Because they get to keep the toys, I'm sure. But
Well, yeah, priorities.
But so basically, in a nutshell, one of my neighbors signed up for a modeling class, and I didn't know what that was. So I was like, what is that? And she's like, it's where you learn how to be on commercials and fashion shows. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like I want to learn that. So I went to that course, and then from there, they had me in their roster per se of kid models. And then there was a CBC miniseries coming through, and they were looking for a mixed race Indigenous girl. We call that Métis in Canada. And it was for a period drama, and they had already cast the woman to play my character's mom. And of course, they were hoping to book a local actress. So, I kind of fit the bill.
Yeah.
And they were like, have you ever acted before? And I said, no, but I'm signed up for a workshop next week. And they said, okay, well, you take that workshop. And so then I got the part, and then the rest was history, I guess, because I had such a great experience on set. I didn't really know that the world could be that great for me.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, you get all the snacks that my mom won't buy me here.
Right on. Right.
So of course, then that made my life decisions based on snacks.
Hey, who doesn't?
Yeah.
Did you have a lot of support when you were coming into this world?
Yeah, I actually did. And I would say it's a humble story, because I didn't, my family's not well off. I come from a single parent family. I knew who my dad was, but I didn't see a lot of him when I was younger. And he's the Nakota parent. And then my mom is white or Caucasian or German Canadian.
Okay.
And anyway, but my mom was always very supportive. Like she put me in lessons. If I expressed that I wanted to do something, she would let me try it. And she would drive me to things a lot. And so basically, yes, I had a lot of support. And she even found groups and clubs for me to apply for funding from, so that we could do things that, our family wouldn't have been able to afford otherwise. And I was very lucky to have her as a support. And then later when, I started acting, and my roles were involving Indigenous culture, my dad, he really stepped up and started connecting me with people, elders, linguists, to help me with my research for various roles I was getting and different auditions I was going for.
Oh, okay.
And so I would say like I had some great moral support from both of my parents, which I think is not to be underestimated, because sometimes like money isn't everything. If I would have had to been, it's a really difficult decision to go into this career, and there's so many things working against you all the time. You hear no like exponentially more than you hear the word yes.
Right.
So if your parents weren't in support of it, that would have just added an extra hurdle. And I'm glad I didn't have to do that because, they were both behind me.
That's great. And I'm glad that they were supportive too.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Me
have a
too.
question regarding the linguist part that you were talking about. Now, when you were seeing the linguist, was that to learn English, or was that to learn French, or was that to learn Nakota?
It was to learn Nakota.
Okay.
Nakota is an endangered language. It's very similar to other Siouan languages, so that includes Lakota, Dakota, and Nakota, and then also Osage or Wazazi is also a Siouan language umbrella language.
I gotcha.
So there are other languages that are similar, have different like similar root words and stuff, but Nakota itself, it's really difficult to find somebody who can teach and speak. So there's also like a generational thing where, the people that can speak it fluently can't read or write sometimes because their first language wasn't English.
Oh.
And then there's also another cultural thing where, some elders don't like to be recorded because that's just, it feels like you've given a part of your spirit or a part of the culture to something that you don't have control over anymore. And so, then it's hard to talk to someone over the phone and hear things. So, luckily I went to school I took phonetics in school, at every school I went to actually. And so I was able to work with linguists, remotely. And we were working with the International Phonetic Alphabet, as also getting like audio tutorials over the phone.
Cool.
Yeah.
Are there any particular like phrases that
I remember?
that you remember from doing that?
Well, I can say like how Chaje Mitawa Wambani Oyatewi, which means hi, my name is Eagle Nation Woman, which is my spiritual name. I was given that name when I was younger.
Cool.
So yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I kind of continuing on, as far as your acting career and things like that, do you have a preferred genre that you do or that you would like to do?
Well, no, I actually super love action. And I haven't done a lot of it. I've done some. And whenever I'm doing it, I have a really fun time. And it's just, so I think I'll always want to do more of that because there are a lot more female action roles than there used to be. But like, it's still like there's a lack of female inclusion in those kind of stories. So it's hard. It's hard. They don't come along very often. And luckily I just finished one on a movie called Don't Say Its Name. And that was awesome. And it kind of like re-whet my appetite. Because before that, the only other action role I really did, besides a short film that I did that still hasn't come out, but it's called Heaven and Earth, A Ritual. But that was like more like things were being done to me. It was still like action, but it was like, I didn't get to be like in the kick-ass kind of like powerful character. But I was in a TV movie called Sky and Chang, and that was a kung fu based role. So that was the last time I did that, and I think I filmed that in 2012. So like I said, they don't come along very often because now it's 2020, and I just did my next one, and it was awesome.
So you like the action part of kicking in doors and being the strong female lead kind of thing, not getting fired out of catapults.
Yeah, exactly. Like that kind of stuff.
Nice.
I'd be into swords. archery. Yeah, like basically, and then I got to shoot a bunch of guns in this last role, and that was the first time I ever got to be like a gunslinger. So that was dope.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I have a question, but I'm going to preface this right now by saying this is potential spoilers for
Okay.
anybody that watches Outlander.
Yes, guys. Cover
so
your ears.
Cover your ears. Turn off. Well, I'd prefer you not to turn off the show, but
Don't turn it off.
spoilers. So,
Yeah.
speaking of action, in
Yeah.
your final scenes there, things got a little fiery.
Oh, yeah. Literally.
And I was reading a story that kind of touched on what happened as far as you and how you felt and your stunt double and things like that. Can you recount that tale?
Oh, yeah, for sure. So basically, this was such a cool effect. You know, we had to shoot various levels of it with Burning Man and then my character walking onto the stake and also burning. And basically, you know, we did one with the actor in place where there wasn't really any fire anywhere near us.
Mm-hmm.
Then we did one with the stunt double, and he was still looking like a man, so they could put he was just looking like the other actor, but with no real changes, you know.
Right.
So they made the flames closer to his feet and actually hot, and the smoke like go in his face and everything. Then we had to do one where they put the sorry about that. That's my dog. They put a flame retardant suit on the stunt double for the male character, Father Alexander, and then they lit him on fire.
Like real fire.
Yeah, like actual fire. I think it's like a 15-second countdown that you can film that for. And then during that, you know, the characters, Roger and Gahe Lodun are supposed to be watching my character walk onto the stake. So then they were like, well, we need an eye line. So I got to walk like very close, as close as like was safe to the pyre. And then I ducked out of frame. So that was really exciting because literally you're walking towards a flaming man. Like, you know, like, you don't really see that ever like in your life. And I was just like, whoa.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's something you could put on your resume and people are just kind of reading along and they're like, can you tell me about this part?
Right, exactly. It's just like, I think a lot of humans in real life hopefully don't see that. You know, so.
I like that you put hopefully in there.
Yeah, yeah. The next phase is that they had to put a stunt double just like me with a flame retardant suit walking onto the pyre. And they both burn. So we did the rehearsal before she put on the suit, and then they went and put the suit on her, and they only had like one shot to get this you know, to get the actual footage that they needed, because each time it costs a lot of money to do the full burn.
Right.
And so she went and she started walking up the pyre, and she actually stumbled, and that actually made it into the final edit. You can kind of see her foot slip down a bit. And so she had to kind of like change, you know, her body movement to get up to the top and still end in the final pose. And I guess when she stumbled, she like her face like planted into the other burning stunt double.
Oh,
and
no.
She had been breathing through a straw through the suit, and the straw melted and it burned her lips.
Oh, wow.
Not to mention, it would have probably felt like you were suffocating, but I guess you would know that they had to like put the fire out in 15 seconds and you'd be able to breathe after that. But like,
that would take a lot of mental willpower though.
Yeah. So I saw her, you know, in the like porta potty area afterwards, and she was like putting burn cream on her lips, like the makeup and wardrobe people were helping her, and I was like, what happened? And so she told me, she's like, I was like, oh my God. And she's like, yeah, like it's for her. She kind of like, she was just like, oh, ow, ooh. But she was just kind of like shrugging it off. Like, yeah, all of the day's work kind of.
Yeah. Oh no, this is cool. I do this all the time.
Yeah, exactly. And then the final version is they put dummies in there that were like you in the same pose, and they just like burned it up like an effing barbecue.
That's great.
Yeah, so that was really cool, and to watch it, and you're like, whoa.
Jeez, that would be cool.
Yeah.
So is there anybody that you would like to work with?
Well, that is a long list, which is a good thing.
Right.
But I never actually got to work with Katrina and Sam because they weren't really in that episode.
Right.
And so they were off the weeks I was there. So I'd like to work with them.
All right, that's
probably
fair.
won't be an Outlander since I died, but
well.
But yeah, maybe I would like to work with. There's just so many people, but like,
yeah, that's
like
fair.
Viola Davis.
Okay.
Yeah, I look up to her a lot, so I would really like to work with her.
Okay. Well,
that's the person that comes to mind.
Let me redirect a little bit then.
Sure.
Let's change up the question just a tad. So
Okay.
let's say a director were to come up to you, any director comes up to you and says, look, Sarah, I've got the funding, I've got all the resources we could possibly need, and I want you to play the lead, but what we need is an idea. What's the next big movie?
Ooh. Well, I feel like I don't want to tell you because I don't want people to take my idea.
Oh, okay.
But,
well, if you don't want to tell, that's fine.
No, but it would be an action-packed story. Yeah. And I would want a bit of comedy in there too, and I think I would want it to be post-apocalyptic.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, let's kind of talk about you for just a second. We've been talking about you the whole time, but I mean, a little more personally. Like, do you have a favorite restaurant you like to go to?
Ooh, well,
or just a favorite food? Because I don't want to tell people like, oh, hey, she likes to go here a lot.
Yeah, shoot, I always forget that that's a thing. I shouldn't. By the way, well, I love like gamey meat. Maybe it runs in my blood. I don't know. But so yeah, if there's somewhere that can like cook up like a nice like including like elk or bison or anything like that, it's pretty much up my alley.
Nice.
Yeah, like a farm to table place, where they know where the animals came from and how they were treated and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you have any hobbies that you do in between movies and TV shows?
Yeah, I mean, I like to stay fit in various ways. I still practice Kung Fu, and I don't go nearly as often as I feel like I should. But yeah, and then I also live near Central Park in New York City, so I go there quite a bit with my dog. And yeah, I like horseback riding. Love it.
Cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
And I was reading that you also play the flute.
I do. Yeah. It's been a while since I've needed to, although I think with Lizzo, things are, might be getting more popular again.
Right. Well, that
yeah.
was my next question was, because you said it's been a while. I was like, so if Terry Crews were to come up and challenge you to a flute off, who do you think would win?
He would. Yeah, they would. Yeah. Not me. But I could definitely practice up, and I would feel pretty confident maybe after like a month or two of,
Cool.
practicing.
That's right on.
Yeah.
Now, besides all of this other stuff, you also teach ESL to children overseas, or do you not do that anymore?
At the present time, I don't do that, but it's in my repertoire. Now I can always lean on it if I need to. And I had a good experience while I was doing it, especially like the actual teaching aspect of it.
Yeah, I thought that was
Yeah.
pretty cool. I hadn't seen that before. And in
It's
fact,
it's picking up speed a little bit. They're especially Canadian people because they pay in US dollars, which to us is a lot, but
right.
in the US it's not so much. So that was part of the reason I'm not really doing it so much in New York anymore.
That's fair.
Yeah, but
Can't
if
blame
I
you
was
there.
in Toronto more often, I would still do it there. Yeah.
Okay. And so how do you feel about the show Letterkenny?
I really enjoy it. I've been actually I knew about it. My brother showed it to me when it was just some YouTube videos. They're still on there, like the early YouTube videos.
Yeah.
And it was so funny and like original, and I was like,
Do you feel like that's an accurate representation of Canada?
really watch it. It's like, you know, the next version of like, because Trailer Park Boys was so popular internationally. I was like, it's got the potential to be the next Trailer Park Boys. Like, it's really, really funny. And then Hulu picked it up, so that's great. So now it is in the States, and I showed it to my boyfriend, and he thinks it's hilarious. And I've only auditioned for it a few times, so maybe one of these days.
There you go. Only a few.
Yeah,
huh?
yeah,
Nice.
exactly.
I personally like that. Being from New York, I wasn't sure if it was a actual representation of Canadians in general, but it's still quite humorous to me.
It's pretty humorous. Yeah, it's not like extremely accurate, but there are aspects to it that are, and some of the accents are pretty hilarious, and the little phrases, like the way people use those phrases, just things that you don't really hear every day unless like you live in places like Letterkenny. So
Can confirm.
Yeah, and I really love Dio Horn's role on there. I actually didn't audition for that. I was probably busy doing theater or something when that one came around. But then later I was like, damn it, like, why didn't I get a chance? Because it's just such a cool role. So, that's really awesome for her. And it's great that they, wrote a character like that in the show. And I think it's really fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I love her character. She's very good at it. That's great.
Yeah.
Well, as we're tapering off to the end of the show here, would you like to tell the listeners where it is that they could go to follow you, like what your social medias are?
Sure. So my social medias are Instagram and Twitter, both at Sera-Lys McArthur. That's Sera-Lys McArthur. And there's also my Facebook fan page. If you want to throw me some love on there, Sera-Lys Fan, Seralysfan. And then, you can always check me out on IMDb or at my website, seralysmcarthur.com. And that's how you can find me. And then also keep an eye out for Burden of Truth Season 3, which is airing in Canada right now. And I was actually really lucky that I was filming in Calgary this past month. Yeah. So I got to watch the first 4 episodes of the season, and I was sad because I don't get to watch the next 4. Oh. But I'm in 7 of the 8 episodes of season 3, and so far I'm very, very happy with the way it's looking and feeling, and I think it's going to be well received when it does hit the US. It'll be on the CW in the summer, and that's probably about the time it'll be on Universal TV UK. And then Hulu, it probably won't be until like the fall.
Right.
Or the winter. Yeah.
Awesome. And, speaking of air, this is terrible pun segue, but I saw that they were doing, one of your movies is now on Canada Air.
Oh, yeah. So that is called Robbery. And it's a feature film. And we made it for like no money. This was like the Corey Stanton. He was a first time, feature film writer and director. He like basically self-financed it. And It's really awesome to see, little projects get to see the light of day in the industry. So yeah, it's on Air Canada in-flight entertainment, which is a first for me in my career. And I think a lot of the people involved, same thing.
Well,
and so if you're taking thank you. If you're taking an Air Canada flight, like check it out. Also, it is available for on-demand rental and purchasing. So if you wanted to go on Amazon Prime or Google Play, and there's a few other places that you should be able to find it. I think it's on iTunes as well.
Sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I would just like to say, in closing, thank you so much for coming on and talking to me today. This 30 minutes has actually flown by. This has been amazing.
It has. Thank you so much for asking me to be a part of this, and I'm looking forward to listening to it.
Absolutely. And thank you to all the listeners out there that are tuning in and checking it out and listening to us do these chats. Like, everything's going along super awesome right now, so thank you very much. And stay tuned for the next exciting episode. We'll see you all later.
Bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, creatures of all ages, what an amazing show. Thank you for lending an ear and joining us. I'm the host, Ray Rumsey, and if you want to hear more interviews, simply head to anywhere podcasts are heard, Facebook or Twitter, and search The Leo Effects, with an A, not an E. If you'd like to hear me doing silly voices and making a general fool of myself, head over to Shattered Dungeons on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. We live stream every Tuesday night. More projects are in the works. For now, stay tuned for more interviews. To book yourself as a guest, you can head to theleoeffects.wixsite.com/podcast or send me an email at theleoeffects@gmail.com. Remember, this has been The Leo Effects, and great shows require great listeners, just like you. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.